Hello everyone, Charles from the Bible Unbound, and recently I had given away my favorite reader Bible to a friend of ours who was in need and who would very well appreciate it. So I picked up something which is going to be the replacement for my reader Bible, and I think I want to share this with you guys. This is a New Living Translation giant print, personal size. I really like the way they've been doing the giant prints in this series. It's really crisp, really readable in this nice small compact size. So as we go to the overhead, the difference between their personal size and their compact really isn't that much. It's only maybe an inch or so. I don't have that compact size anymore with me because we had given that away. But this is on par with most of my personal Bibles. It's about that same size and about that same thickness. And we take a look at the cover on here. So this is they're calling it a Green Mountain cover. So they have this cover on a couple of their new thin lines, and as well as the personal size. And the difference between the thin line and the personal size is mainly the thickness and the paper that they're using. I really like the construction on this. This has this nice green, you can see it in the overhead, this over stitching all the way around, this nice inlay with Holy Bible over this nice Green Mountain background, and then the spine, it just says, you know, Tyndale, Holy Bible, NLT on the spine. Very nice, has a good feel to it. I like a lot of their leather softs. They're actually really nice. And as we open this up, so it has just a clean presentation page to their Holy Bible, New Living Translation. This is the page that when you actually set up this Bible in your Filament app for the first time, you'll scan this link, and then it'll ask you to scan another place in the Bible, so that way it can line its software up with it. We're going to take a look at the copyright page. It does have quite a few different versions of this. General contents, your Old Testament, New Testament, their verse finder in the back, a nice visual overview of the Bible. I do like their helps and their little charts they have in the back of most of their New Living Translations recently. A note on what the symbols here mean. So an asterisk in this Bible flow text mark, it's the existence of a footnote. So they're letting you know that there's a footnote in the bottom of the page. When we go into it, there is a note on the Filament app and how to use it, a note to readers, an introduction to the New Living Translation. So I'll say this in all my videos. Read your preface at least one time so you get a good basic understanding of how they're doing their translation. Skip forward here into the actual text. Anything else besides a note on the textual footnotes? We go into the first book of Genesis. Now, you can kind of see here that it's not line matched, and there is quite a bit of show through. It's not nearly as bad as the video might be showing it to be. It's still really clear, and this nice big text is dark, printed fairly well, that I can tell. And as we go into it, it's not quite, it's almost laying flat just in the first couple pages of Genesis. So I do like the way they've been doing this. This is a nice Smyth-sewn construction. Now the text, since you've got this large text, the only way they can kind of save on page space is they have to go a little bit farther out. So they're not as quite deep into the margins as I've seen some of the gift Bibles go, but it goes right out to the edges. You've got maybe under a ½ inch on the margin on the outside. Clean, large, readable text. This is slightly larger than some of the texts I normally read, which is about a 9 to an 11. But this feels very comfortable. It's really readable. And all there is textual footnotes on here because everything else would be in your Filament Bible app. Now, what I love about the Filament system, it's basically like carrying a study Bible with your normal Bible, so you have less things to carry with you. We'll flip through a little bit. This is just a straight reader. When you get to some of the poetry sections, like you see here, you can definitely see the show through on it, but it is still really readable. What I do like about the show through on some of these Bibles, especially the ones that aren't line matched, is they kind of stack on themselves. So that way it blocks the text from behind. So you see a little bit of the next page, but not as much as the page after. You'll really notice it on sections like here where you see the big chapter number there. So yeah, you do have that from time to time. There's nothing else fancy, so there's no introductions or anything like that. That is actually, all of that is in the Filament app. So if you want to go through the introduction to see how or what that book specifically pertains to, like its writing history, any major points, themes, stuff like that, are going to be in those notes. And we'll flip forward, jump a little bit farther, take a look at the poetry section. It was right there. And we get into the Psalms. Nice, big, crisp. I like the chapter numbers. They're nice, large, really, really dark, easy to see. The poetry is very well 2-column poetry. The only thing that I think could make this a better Bible is if it was a single column. I'm starting to like some single columns. I've always had dual column books. The Bibles that I've always had have always been dual column. And I used to like my reference Bibles to have the reference in the center, but I'm starting to like the idea of the references being on the inner margin, because you can see here that the text kind of flows pretty well into that margin while it's not unreadable. So when you pick it up and kind of hold it, it looks like it's going to be fairly readable, and it is. It has a little bit of flop to it. Still fairly stiff. It'd be excellent for reading. You can hold it one-handed and it'll still read very, very well. I do like this. This is going to be a good one because I know when I sit and read, I'm usually reading maybe with one hand held as you're doing that. And I think my eyes are going to love me with this later on in life because I'm not getting any younger. And even though I've got good eyesight up close, I do like how clean and clear this text is, and in lower light situations this will actually be very well. I don't recommend reading books in low light, but this could still serve you very well. And as we get into the New Testament, we'll take a look and show you about the Red Bible, the red letter. So the red letter in here is a little bit darker. I actually like it a little on the darker side because some of these ones where it's more pink, it actually is harder to read, especially when there's show through from the previous page. The show through on here actually is not bad at all. It's probably showing up more on the camera than it actually is. Clean. I do like this. For a general reader, I think this is going to do pretty much exactly what I want. And I have to double check the size on here. It might actually fit in my old little holder for it. And we get to the very end. We'll go past Revelation and show you the helps in the back. So go to the Tyndale verse finder. So I like this as a good, just like one sentence overview of the verse you might be looking for. Like say in Caring, where it says God's people should help the oppressed, and it gives you the note and the page number. So if you might have difficulty knowing where maybe specifically Romans are or 1 Timothy is, it tells you the specific page number, which I think is very helpful. This is kind of geared toward a newer believer. Most of the time when I'm talking to somebody that is a newer believer that might have a little difficulty reading the Bible and maybe kind of dropped off because of maybe the King James or older versions that don't read a little bit more woodenly. That's the only way I can describe it. I love the New Living Translation for that because it's on the more of a thought for thought range, where they're getting the thought of it more than the exact phrase, the exact wording of the phrase, which in my opinion can be a little bit more accurate than doing it exactly word for word, because you're putting the meaning of it into a modern language phrasing, which I do like that. And we go past the verse finder to what they're calling the visual overview. I do love some of the points in here, and there's a list that shows you all the specifics, but it shows you like the world of the patriarchs, a nice listing of the plagues of Egypt, what each of the 10 plagues represented, and what specific god that they were that it was contradicting in each of the plagues. I love that. Listing of the Exodus from Egypt and the path that we think that they had taken. Israel's annual calendar, what the months corresponded to, and what the festivals or specific dates may have corresponded to. The dates of the annual festivals. A listing of the 12 tribes of Israel. The kingdoms of Israel. And something I really, really like is this book of the Psalms. So each of these circles, the larger the circle is how many more verses that they have. So it goes from 119, which is the largest psalm, all the way down to, which I believe was Psalm 117 with only 2 verses. And they break it up to have more of a visual overview, whether it's, where it's a praise, a thanksgiving, trust, wisdom sort of thing, where you can kind of see, some have more than the others, and where, I like this kind of visual representation of it. Another side representation of the prophets. So they're this basically on this scale, this is the time frame, and this is how many words were in their book. So you can see that the book of Isaiah had the most words of all the other prophets down through here. And then Jeremiah's books, I have, I think it's Habakkuk and Obadiah, is that one of the smaller ones? And Joel. So these are how many words are in each of those specific books, which I kind of like that, of how long their ministry was versus how many words were in each of the books. I like these little visual things that they have. It's kind of nice. The ministry of Jesus, corresponding to each of the points on this map, basically tells you the explanation what's happening on the other side. Journeys of the Christian leaders, Paul's missionary journey, and you get to the end where it's the Old Testament and the New Testament letters. So I like their illustration here, and the Old Testament allusions in Revelation. So like the Son of Man, Revelation 1, 13 and 17 was Daniel 7 and 10. I like their breakdown of that. And you get to the nice end sheet on the back. I like the coloring. The coloring on the stitching on here is nice. This gold against green. It's really, really good. And I didn't show at the beginning the ISBN number, if you guys can see that. So this, I like the way this feels in the hand. It's a good size. Now for like a general everyday carry, something like this, I could see carrying to church, this type of size. Even if I didn't have a bag or something to carry it in, I really like it. I like the feel of their leather stuff they've been doing. It has a good look to it, has a good feel to it, and I think this is going to be a good replacement for the Bible that I had given away for my collection. So with that, let us know how you think of this, if you have this Bible or maybe one of the other compact series that's similar. I'm really liking what they are doing in their series for their text and how readable it is. It's such a sharp looking Bible too. I kind of like that. So until next time, we hope that you guys would like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know of anything that you guys are interested to in this series. People that have used and liked the Filament Bible series. I love what Tyndale's adding in this, so that way they can add a study Bible to basically any of the Bibles in the series. It's such a good addition. So until next time, we hope you have a good day, night, evening, wherever you are, and we hope to see you soon in another video.